Good morning. We are taking a local train out of Bikaner to our next destination. Platform 2 and 3 to Jaisalmer. Let's go. Train time, let's go. Welcome back to another episode of Adventure for Eureka, where we'll explore the world's most incredible destinations. Oh, hi! Welcome on board. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. Can you turn the lights on for us? It's fairly dark. Very dark. Mm. So, you can sit there. You can sit up there. You can sit over here. Sit over there. Today, we're taking the train to Jaisalmer, India's legendary Golden City, and we'll be exploring the serene waters of Gadisar Lake, Nathmal Ki Haveli, where two brothers accidentally created architectural magic, the grand Pawon Ki Haveli, ancient Jain temples that take your breath away, and the mighty Jaisalmer Fort rising from the desert. Let's discover why this place glows gold. Jaisalmer. Just saying the name conjures images of endless deserts, golden sandstone, and tales of ancient caravans. Founded in 1156 by Raval Jaisa, the city rises from the Thar desert like a mirage made real. But here's what makes it truly special. Virtually every building is constructed from golden yellow sandstone, which transforms into liquid gold during sunrise and sunset. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of the Thar Desert, one of the world's most unforgiving landscapes. How do you build not just a city, but a thriving civilization? The people of Jaisalmer figured this out 850 years ago. So we made a stop, and we're getting chai. Here comes the chai. Which one mine?
This one.
Why, not the one that you spilled?
Go for it. Not the one that was there. That's me.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, 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 cheers.
Cheers.
Only 2 more hours. This wasn't just a desert outpost. Jaisalmer became fantastically wealthy as a crucial stop on an ancient trade route linking India with Persia, Arabia, Egypt, and the West. Camel caravans laden with silk, spices, precious stones, and exotic goods passed through these very locations. The merchants, they built monuments to their success. The city's strategic location made it a prize worth fighting for. The fort has witnessed numerous battles, with Jaisalmer changing hands between various Bati rulers and invading forces throughout medieval times. Betrayals, sieges, acts of legendary courage. The sandstone walls have seen it all. But what truly captured my imagination is how life adapted to the desert. The architecture here isn't just beautiful, it's ingenious. Designed to combat scorching heat with thick walls, minimal windows facing the sun, and intricate jacoras that maximize ventilation. Walking through the narrow lanes later on, you'll see why Jasmine earned its nickname. As the sun moves across the sky, the entire city shifts through shades of honey, amber, and burnished gold. It's not just a town, it's like a living, breathing work of art carved from the desert itself. And unlike many historical sites or forts that feel frozen in time, Jaisalmer Fort remains one of the few living forts in the world with nearly 3,000 people still residing within its wall, families who've called this place home for a long, long time. The city faces modern challenges too, with rising population and increased tourism. So let's step into this golden dream and see what secret it holds. Our amazing hotel, a medieval Haveli, an architectural marvel with very high arch and semi-arch stone ceilings, and beautiful courtyards filled with old heritage, antique furniture, and some memorabilia. And it's about 5 minutes from the fort and the nearby place and the main market. As you probably noticed, it is a much quieter city compared to Delhi. Our first stop, Gadisar Lake. And this is pretty amazing in the middle of the Thar Desert. However, it's not quite a natural lake. It's man-made reservoir constructed in 1367 by Maharaja Val Gadzi Singh, who actually rebuilt an earlier water conservation system from the city's founder. Think about that for a second. In one of India's driest regions, medieval engineers created a water supply system that still functions today. The lake was the lifeline of Jaisalmer, collecting rainwater and providing the city's sole water source for centuries. During the monsoon, yep, they get occasional rains here. Water would flow through cleverly designed channels into the reservoir. As we walk towards the water, you'll notice that the lake is surrounded by ghats, stepped platforms leading down to the water, and numerous temples and shrines. The architecture around the lake features classic Rajasthani chatris, those elegant domed pavilions, and beautifully carved temples dedicated to various Hindu deities. Let me tell you a cool story about the stunning entrance gate, which you should see right now, the Tilan Ki Pole. So the fascinating story here is that this gateway was built by a royal courtesan named Tylon, and when she wanted to construct it, the religious establishment initially objected. Her clever solution? She built a temple atop the gateway, making it sacrilegious to demolish. Smart move, huh? And it appears she's not the only one that had some moves. But what really brings this place alive? Is it the dance moves or is it the birds? Because guess what? During the winter months, Gadisar becomes a haven for migratory birds from as far as Siberia. You'll see ducks, geese, coots, and if you're lucky, even an occasional kingfisher. The lake also reflects the daily rhythm of Jaisalmer life. Early morning, locals come for prayers and peaceful walks. As the sun climbs higher, tourists arrive for boat rides and photography. And by the evening, it transforms into a romantic spot where the golden city glows even brighter in the water mirror. There is something profoundly peaceful about this place. As our evening ends and a new day begins, let me tell you a little more about our hotel. In the early 18th century, the royal family decided to build palaces outside of the fort, and Nachana Haveli was one of them. The present Nachana family are the direct descendants of Maharaja Jaisal, who was the founder of Jaisalmer. This building is made with sandstone. It's one of the architectural marvels of its time, with its arched high ceilings, domes, and many courtyards, a mix of Mughal and Rajput styles. And if you have a chance, ask to see the basement. It was built to be a stable for the Maharaja's horses, and it's one of the biggest basement staples in Rajasthan. At least it is written this way on the sign, which I just read as I'm making this video. Look at this. We will soon go to this fort, but before that, let me tell you about Nathmal Ki Haveli, which is a very unusual building you'll see here in a little bit. It was built in 1885 as the residence for Divan Mohatta Nathmal, the Prime Minister of Jaisalmer. The mansion was commissioned by Maharaval Berisal. But here is where it gets interesting. The construction was assigned to two brothers, Hati and Lulu, who divided the Haveli into two sections and worked independently without proper coordination to ensure symmetry. Can you imagine? Two architects building two halves of the same building without talking to each other. The results? While both halves mirror each other, they differ in subtle but noticeable details. It's like looking at twins who aren't quite identical. Some call it an architectural accident. I call it fascinating. As we soon be approaching the entrance, there are two magnificent life-size elephants carved from yellow sandstone that stand guard, symbolizing protection and welcoming visitors into the Bigone era. The Havelis brilliantly fuses Rajput, Islamic, and Rajasthani architectural styles. You can look at the exterior walls. They're covered with elaborate carvings depicting horses, cattle, and flora, offering glimpses into the life of those artistic people. The Prime Minister's Haveli. So how do you see the difference? And is there a difference? Yes, there is. You see, like almost like halfway, and then that window is different than that window. And these statues are different than these statues. And that's because two brothers did it, one side, the other side. The jarokas, those ornate balconies with intricate lattice work, weren't just decorative. They provided ventilation in the brutal desert heat and allowed residents to observe the streets below while maintaining privacy. So check out the paintings on this side, and then you have different style paintings on this side, and these were the two brothers. And here's the view outside. So the woman would sit up there, and yeah, the man would be downstairs. A lot of things are carved out of camel bone. It's pretty cool. There is a spacious courtyard, typical of Rajasthani architecture, offered cool, shaded spaces for relaxation and social gathering. So, what did I like the most? Well, the Haveli is still partially inhabited by Diban Mohatta, Natmal's descendants, and partly functions as a shop selling local crafts and souvenirs. History isn't locked behind velvet ropes here. It's kind of nice that it's living, breathing, evolving. So all these windows kind of help with the lighting and circulation, and then those gargoyle things right there with gathering water and stuff, right? And then there's a couple things you can buy here and upstairs. Look how, look how cool that is. This place proves that sometimes the most beautiful things emerge from happy accidents. Yeah. So right here, this is actually a wedding invitation. 10 March, I think it was 2022, right? And look at that little mouse. He's a friendly mouse. And that one is from 2019, wedding invitation. Next up, Pawon Ki Haveli. And this one is pretty cool. It isn't just one Haveli, it's a cluster of five separate Havelis, making it the largest and most elaborate Haveli in Jaisalmer. Built over 50 years, starting in 1805 by Guman Chand Patwa, a wealthy trader. Each section was constructed for his five sons. The craftsmanship is absolutely mind-blowing. The the facade features incredible intricate carvings and decorations with detailed lattice work that seems impossible to have been carved from solid stone. We didn't go inside. This place screams opulence. Walking through the city feels like stepping into like a living museum. The old city is a labyrinth of narrow alleys where every structure is carved from gold and yellow sandstone, earning its name, the Golden City. Unlike modern cities, the soul of Jaisalmer lives in the streets. Every corner reveals intricate jacoras, those overhanging balconies, and carved stone lattice that showcase centuries-old craftsmanship. With magnificent Havelis, Pawon Ki, Nathmal Ki, Salem Ki, each a masterpiece blending Islamic and Rajput architecture, telling stories of wealth, traders, and royal grandeur. I recommend that you go check out the bazaars like Sadar Bazaar and Manak Chowk, and soon I'll show you Gopa Chowk. But before that, what we will do is we'll see the crown jewel, which is Jaisalmer Fort, rising 250 feet above the city, built in 1156 by Rajput ruler Raval Jaisal. This massive sandstone fortress dominates the landscape. It's known as Sonar Quila, or the Golden Fort, because of how its yellow sandstone walls glow in the sunlight. Walking through its gate, it's like entering a time machine. The fort has four massive gateways, designed to confuse and slow down enemy attackers. Inside, 99 bastions surrounding the complex, most built between 1633 and 1647. But here's what makes Jasmine Fort truly unique. It's one of the very few living forts, as I mentioned earlier, with about 3,000 people still residing within its walls. There are homes, shops, restaurants, hotels. The fort houses several ornate Jain temples built between the 12th and 16th centuries, featuring stunning carvings and intricate artwork. The Chandra Parabu temple, we stayed outside. It's remarkable artistry and Jain temple architecture. And there is a royal palace within the fort with its beauty decorated rooms and balconies, which offers panoramic views of the entire city. The fort has some challenges. Modern plumbing, increased population have caused water leakage issues that threaten the ancient foundation. It's a delicate balance between preserving history and accommodating present day life. So by now, you probably figured that's the king's quarters, and then that's where the king sat in that chair when there were the festivities, and the ministers sat on those chairs by level of where they were. And so, since we know that's the king, can you guess with these tiny windows who would be behind this? Yep, you guessed it, the queen and the woman. But these tiny windows also served a little bit of a purpose by making the air be cooler in the summertime. After coffee, we'll be heading to Gopa Chowk, but before that, let me tell you something interesting. Especially since soon we'll be heading deep into the Thar Desert for the night of camping under the stars. And here we witness something truly special. Traditional Rajasthani folk dance, which carry a powerful story of cultural preservation and breaking barriers. So let me tell you about these dances. Gumar, Kalbelia, Chari, Babai. They have been performed in Rajasthan for centuries, but here's what makes them even more remarkable. They were nearly fading away until artisans fought to keep them alive. One such pioneer was a performer from right here in Jaisalmer who revolutionized how the world sees Rajasthani folk dance. Born into a carpenter family, started dancing at just 13 years old to support the sisters after losing their parents. Became a drag performer, mastering feminine movements through rigorous training and brought these traditional dances to over 60 countries. So who is this person? Well, this is Harish Kumar, also known as Queen Harish. So keep watching because pretty soon you'll see the dancer spin in vibrant flowing skirts. The hypnotic calbelia, which is performed by snake charmer communities where bodies move with serpentine fluidity. The breathtaking chari dance, which is balancing brass pots on their heads while dancing barefoot. Within the fort, we pass a couple of Jain temples, Parashvanath, with ancient inscriptions dating back to 1416 and 1440 CE, and Chandraprabha temple constructed in 1509. Inside these sacred spaces lie over 600 idols and the Gayan Bandar, a grand library housing nearly 1,000 manuscripts written on palm leaves with painted wooden covers, some dating back to the 12th century, including text on Bhojpatra and Tatputra, paintings, astrological charts, and even copies of ancient teachings on righteousness and duty. Maybe next time I'll get to step inside and explore these treasures, but for now, even glimpsing at their golden facades reminds us that this is an amazing place. We also passed the Parasvana temple, and by the way, there is a total of 7 Jain temples inside the fort, so do some research before visiting. So we got to stop at this, I would consider it special place, sort of like a treasure house of ethnic textiles. It wasn't just another tourist shop, although it could be considered that. But this is more of a social enterprise supporting local women and artisans. They take traditional textiles and upcycle them into beautiful pillowcases, bed covers, scarves, and other handcrafted pieces. The best part? Well, we were welcomed with complimentary snacks, the desert hospitality as its finest, and we also learned that 60% of the profits go directly to the women creating these products. Samosa with potato inside, and look how cool that carpet is. And with that, we are about to venture into the Thar Desert, also known as the Great Indian Desert, an arid region spanning 200,000 square kilometers, making it the world's 18th largest desert. But here's what makes it truly extraordinary: it's the most densely populated desert on Earth, with 83 people per square kilometer. Think about that. In one of the planet's harshest environments, where temperatures can plunge to near freezing in winter and soar above 50 degrees Celsius in summer, and annual rainfall is just about 100 to 500 millimeters. Millions of people have not just survived, they thrived for a long time. This golden sea of sand is built from yellow sandstone that shifts constantly with powerful winds, creating those iconic towering dunes. The Luni River is the only river flowing through this vast expanse. But this desert holds ancient secrets. And what secret could that be? Well, around 5,000 years ago, the Indus Valley civilization flourished here when monsoon fed rivers sustained prosperous cities. As climate patterns shifted and rivers dried up, those great civilizations adapted or migrated, leaving behind archaeological treasures. Today, the Thar is a living paradox. Endangered species like the great Indian bustard, black buck, and Chinkara gazelle thrive here, while 141 species of migratory birds arrive from as far as Siberia. The desert blooms with resilient vegetations, from hardy kerji trees to thorny scrub forest. And about 40% of Rajasthan total population lives in the Thar, primarily engaged in agriculture and animal husbandry, as you could probably see when we were arriving with the train. Now, there is farming in the desert using century old water conservation techniques and monsoon dependent crops like bajra and pulses. And tonight, we'll experience this living desert firsthand, sleeping under the stars that have guided desert nomads for millennia, witnessing traditional performances that celebrate this harsh yet beautiful homeland, and understanding why this golden wilderness continues to captivate all who enter. And we have arrived to our campsite. Cool, huh? Guess who makes these little tracks? Yes, yes, look. So during my research, I learned a lot about beetles. However, I could not necessarily Bye. Identify the type of desert beetle this was. Normally, the Desert beetles are good at extracting moisture from air or collect dew, and they have a way to sort of resist the heat, and they're very good at dietary adaptations. Some beetles, such as the master blister beetle, have specialized diets, such as feeding exclusively on certain plants like brittle budge, which are adapted to desert conditions. So, what type of beetle this is? Leave a comment because I couldn't figure it out. The Thar Desert isn't just sand and rock. It's surprisingly alive with hardy, resilient plant species that have adapted to survive extreme heat, scarce water, and brutal winds. Throughout our journey, you'll spot these survivors in the footage, each one playing a pretty important role. The Kerji tree, or Prospopis cineraria, is perhaps the most important. Drought resistant and sacred to locals, providing fodder for animals and fuel for cooking. You'll see the Rohira tree, valued for its timber and medicinal properties, and the Kumatillo, which produces gum, Arabic used in everything from food to
We
medicine.
have yet to
But there's one
visit.
plant I need to tell you about, the jal, or Salvadora persica. Remember when the train was pulling out of the train station and there were tents nearby? Well, I saw people using stick from this plant, which I didn't know, and I was completely confused. Turns out it's called the toothbrush tree. For centuries, desert communities have been breaking off twigs from its plant, fraying at the ends, and using them as a natural toothbrushes. The wood contains natural compounds that clean teeth, fight bacteria, and freshen breath. No toothpaste needed. It's traditional oral hygiene that's been practiced for a long time, I assume. Seeing it in action is just people casually chewing on twigs. Well, that was one of those moments where ancient wisdom meets everyday life. And now, as promised, here you go. Enjoy. To tell you the truth, editing and researching and adding the voiceover takes a very long time. My videos are not sponsored. I don't intend on monetizing, so I appreciate the like, comment, follow. You can even share it with somebody else. Thanks. Don't exit the video just yet. There's a little surprise here. So as the sun rises over the desert, painting the sand dunes gold, let me tell you about something remarkable. It's called a PM SHRI school, where we made a quick stop. A PM SHRI stands for Prime Minister Schools for Rising India, and these schools represent a bold reimagining of education in India. These aren't just regular schools. They are designed to be exemplar institutions showcasing India's national education policy of 2020. The vision, creating resilient educational ecosystems that prepare students for an unpredictable, dynamic world. What makes them special? The focus goes beyond cognitive development to creating holistic, well rounded individuals with 21st century skills. The pedagogy is experimental, inquiry driven, and learner centered, especially play based in early years. Assessment isn't about memorization, but conceptual understanding and applying knowledge to real life situations. Now, what I didn't realize until I researched later is just how architecturally stunning some of these desert schools are. Take the Rajkumari Ratnavati Girls' School. A quick chai stop for this with the 700-meter train. Look how big this train is. Look how long this train is. So long. Located right here in the rural Thar Desert near Jaisalmer, on the boundary of Desert National Park. This isn't your typical school building. It was designed by Diana Kellogg Architects. It's built in the shape of an oval, a form specifically engineered to withstand temperatures up to 50 degrees Celsius. The architecture is breathtaking, blending traditional Rajasthani design with modern functionality. See you in the next episode.